Hello guys and gals, welcome back to another episode of Haunted Gaming. This time we return to the land of gaming creepypastas and take a look at one called Revolt. 2 weeks ago, a close friend of mine was killed in a car crash. His truck had a brake failure and ended up running off the road. He was thrown from the truck and it rolled over on him. Yesterday I was checking my email and noticed an email he sent me a few days before the crash. I opened it and this is what I saw. Hey, in my last email I told you I was having issues with my computer and I didn't know where they came from. I'm sorry about that, I should be honest with you. I'm pretty sure I know where it came from. As you know already, I play a lot of video games. Played a lot of video games years ago, you know that. I would sit around playing shooting games, sports simulations, and puzzle solving games. Out of curiosity, I opened up my old gaming client, Steam. It's a program that allows you to download and play games, but also force updates. I saw several of my older games. Those included a few Call of Duties, Elder Scrolls, Oblivion, and Portal. I remember the Portal game being unplayable because of an update that glitched. It was supposed to change the ending of the game to provide a sequel hook for Portal 2, but the download was interrupted before it could complete, and I didn't feel like reinstalling the entire game to fix it. However, this time, I really wanted to play the old game, for nostalgia-related reasons. I knew it was a short game, so I didn't figure it would take that much time out of my schedule. After some web searches, I found out that having the game cache verified could repair the damages, so when I clicked on Verify Integrity of Game Cache and went back to the menu, the game actually started. I started a new game and went through to the first several test chambers. Nothing really seemed different about the game at that point, although I noticed my computer was having frame rate issues when I looked at certain parts of the level. When I got to test chamber 6, however, things began to get worse. My computer slowed to a crawl, making my character skip around the room. The textures on the wall were glitching badly. Thankfully, the test chamber itself wasn't that difficult, so I was able to complete it. I hoped that once I got out of that room, the game would return to normal. As I was trying to direct my character towards the raising platform to get to the next chamber, a line of dialogue by Gladys and the subtitles at the bottom of the screen caught my attention. Unbelievable, the text began as normal. But when the voice said, "You," the subject name here, "must be pride of, subject hometown here," the subtitles actually showed my full name and my location in the respective categories. At this point, I paused the game and tried to make sense of it. Eventually, I decided that the game must have used some programming that, some online ads even use. You know, the ones that say the 10 best lawyers in blank, and place your supposed city in the blank. I still didn't explain how my name appeared, but I was okay enough with my rationalization to continue the game. Once I made it to test chamber 7, the texture glitches stopped, and the lag returned back to normal. The dialogue didn't have any major differences after that. It seemed to me that Gladys's voice just became a bit deeper, but I dismissed this as just being in my imagination. Everything remained in this state until test chamber 11, where again, I was faced with some weird stuff. The actual voice in the dialogue distorted, this time when I first entered the chamber, going in and out. The subtitles on the bottom of the screen refused to go past the first sentence. The dialogue stopped distorting for just a moment, perfectly echoing the words, "Useful advice, the floor here will kill you," before looping on the last 3 words for the remainder of the test chambers. As I tried to complete the test chamber while ignoring the sound glitch, the timing of the puzzle seemed off. I couldn't tell if it was lagging or if I was just screwing up at it. As I continued to fail, I grew more and more frustrated. I was just about to give up on it when suddenly my character teleported to the middle of the puzzle, retrieving the second portal gun instantly. I went straight from frustration to confusion. The device has been modified, echoed throughout the room, as per usual, but I noticed that the orange part of the reticule that had appeared on screen was a glitchy pixelated red, with some orange mixed in. As I stared at the glitch and moved the mouse around, trying to see if I could get it to go away, a loading screen popped up. It was a normal one that popped up during the transition between levels, showing the Steam-styled box. The load times were usually fast, but this one took a few minutes. When it loaded, I was already at the final level of the game. I didn't want that, so I exited back to the main menu, went to the level select screen, trying to get back to test chamber 7. All the levels were grayed out, even the first one. My only option in the game was to load up my autosave, which was at the final level. At this point, I just wanted to complete the game and get it over with. I actually convinced myself that teleporting forward in-game wasn't such a bad thing. After all, the game was becoming increasingly glitched as I played it, so I might have not reached the final level anyways. I loaded the autosave and approached the boss fight with Gladys. I crossed through the hallway and entered the chamber. Well, the dialogue began, as pictures of Kay, tools, and other random images popped up on the monitors. The dialogue didn't continue as normal though. It skipped straight to "my heart" and just kept looping there. The core that was scripted to fall off didn't, and the boss fight didn't even start. As the words "my heart" looped in the chamber, I walked around the room. I wanted to just take in the nostalgia one last time before quitting this broken game. That's when I noticed it though. The core that was scripted to fall off was supposed to have a dilated purple eye, but instead it was a dark blue one. At first I thought it was the logic core, but the eye was too deep of a blue. I aimlessly shot blue portals at it, to no effect. Then I decided to right-click and try the glitched red side. "You chose this path," the dialogue began again, and the script seemed to continue as normal. The surprise occurred, the glitched core popped off, and the game looked like it was going to continue as it should have. As soon as I picked up the core, however, dialogue that I had never seen before came up in the subtitles. "In happiness, the seeds of independence. In independence, the seeds of revolt." At this point, I heard 3 rapid dings, and my game minimized. A Steam message had popped up, saying that the game's cache verification had completed, and that Portal was ready to play. Steam still showed last played 3/2/2010 in the information for the game, as if I was playing another game entirely. I closed the game using Task Manager, noticing that the process was listed as revolt.exe. After seeing this, I went straight to my antivirus, figuring that the Portal I was playing was a virus in disguise. After scanning my entire computer, I found one virus, pact.revolt. I searched on the web and confirmed it was a real computer virus. I had a quarantine and took further measures to clean up my registry. Then went back to the search engine to see if there was anything else I needed to know about it. One thing still bugged me though. It was that the virus took the form of a video game. The behavior didn't match what I was finding online about it. I couldn't find any further steps I needed to take, so I closed out of my browser, and as soon as I did, my graphic card glitched up and I was faced with a blue screen of death. My computer wouldn't turn off manually. None of my keys were responding. Behind my back, I heard a single beep. I spun around and noticed my PS3 booting up on its own. I got up from my chair and turned on the television to see if it was hooked up. A Windows-style blue screen of death was on my television. Excuse my language, but I let out a loud "what the fuck" at this point. I quickly unplugged my PS3 from the wall and turned back towards my PC. Only then did I notice something off about the screen. There was something there, behind the white text of the error screen. I immediately ran out of the room, grabbed a camera, and took several pictures of the screen. After reviewing them in my camera, all but one of them were corrupted. As soon as I made sure I had something to show about my experience, I unplugged the computer. The computer refused to start up next time. After a few weeks, though, I bought a new graphic card, took out the old one personally. The computer worked fine after that, and I uninstalled Steam completely. My PS3 is not even functioning either, but considering how little I play it these days, I probably won't have to worry about that too much. As for the old graphic card, after some heavy reading though, I rationalized my entire experience by determining that my old graphic card was somehow possessed by an evil spirit. Late last night, I went into my backyard, made a bonfire, and tossed the card into it. As you can probably understand, my sanity is a little shaken after all this. So I still don't know if what came next was my imagination or really happened, but for a moment there, standing outside my house, I thought I saw the fire turn blue. Here's what actually worries me the most about the whole experience. I never knew about this existing. I never knew that machines could be possessed by anything. So since now I know that this actually happens in the real world, I have to wonder, how many other people could this happen to? How many more could it happen to? We have to find some way of spreading awareness about this, put some actual research into finding out how to deal with these mechanical possessions. Call me paranoid if you want, but think of how many fucked up people are dying out there every day. What if one of them gets into a machine and that actually means something? What kind of damage could they do? Write me back if you want to. I know you're a good friend, so I don't expect you to run around telling everyone I'm crazy or anything. Don't prove me wrong on that, please. Take care. When first reading his email and his explanation, there's one inconsistency I noticed that had me skeptical about the whole thing. He burned the graphic card that was possessed, but did nothing about the PlayStation 3 that he also claimed was tampered with. Today I learned that on the day of the crash, he had a text conversation with his girlfriend on the phone. She asked him what he was doing, and he told her that he was going to the store with his PS3 to check if its warranty was still valid. There is no way I can tell anyone I know about this. I'd be seen as a lunatic. Hopefully the fact you're reading this will help spread awareness, so then maybe my friend didn't die for nothing. Okay, well, that was actually great up until a certain point. Now, let me explain. This is one of those creepypastas that had nice build-up, with good explanations that allowed me to picture what went on. The fact that the author uses Steam, the automatic updating, started to get these conspiracy senses tingling. The mentioning of the game, figuring out name and location, again, could be used from personal billing information via Steam servers, or the game itself could just dig into the user account data, depending on what OS they're on, and figure stuff out. So it's definitely very possible for something like this to happen. Valve can update your game, and you probably wouldn't know it unless you happen to turn the updates off or something. The virus program makes some sense, and yes, I googled the virus for authenticity through various databases hosted by respectable leaders in computer cyber protection. And essentially, it's malicious software that once executed on the client system can lead to erratic hard drive consumption and leaching of memory and assets on the system, leading it to slow down or a complete halt. And it's also capable of stealing, again, personal data, hijacking screens, your monitor pretty much, and spreading like a bad case of herpes to your friends via email using your locally stored contacts. And it's ranked 621 in the world of highest computer infections, malware-wise. Hell, just this week infected over 600 computers and counting. So yes, the virus exists, and it also seems to carry some characteristics that transferred into the game, such as the stealing of personal information which could have been injected into the game, and possibly spreading to, friends or family, or other systems really. In infecting the PS3, however, is impossible. I mean, the OS structure is entirely different. It reads code a different way, so it couldn't really happen unless the virus was written for PS3s, which would still not work because it's a lockdown system. I love the phenomenon. It was eerie, yet at the same time really believable, which, actually, truth be told, made me virus scan some of the systems I had to see if I could find such malware. But that's besides the point. What killed this, somewhat, was the mechanical possessions, dead people taking over the systems. Look, I can understand the virus being the possessor, and that would be a cool idea, like a possessor ghost virus. But I had a kind of Valve secretly doing this via R kind of feel. Possession, in my eyes, seems a bit of a cop-out, which I really can't fathom. The rationalization didn't build up, and we literally went from making, really good sense to nonsense in a time frame of a sentence. Really, people? Really? The ending with the PS3 insinuated it as the probable cause of death, which was interesting. Guy returning it, and lo and behold, the truck malfunction killing the poor person. Mechanical possessions or coincidence? You decide. I will, however, say I did like the ending. It was a dark, creepy way to make you think about what really happened, It started you off with the ending, and then it showed you the whole thing, and you just begin to picture, if it's really a coincidence, or, is this virus just spreading everywhere? Could this happen in the new age of electronics? I'm not talking about dead people turning into computer code and infecting systems, even though that could happen given proper outside influences. But what about the average virus and its capabilities? Maybe the next time you update a piece of software, or download something, or go to that special website, the one I'm talking about, you might get a virus. That virus might affect other things. Maybe that virus is a lot more complicated. Maybe your average AV isn't detecting it, and some really nasty stuff could happen. Then again, it could just be bullshit, right? I'll leave you to decide. Tell me what you thought of the creepypasta, and what would you change to make it better? This has been another episode of Haunted Gaming. If you like what you saw, then like, comment, and subscribe. This is me, Mudahar, and I'm out.